So I'm about to do this rather big job on my 99 Lexus ES300, the 1MZ-FE engine, and I thought I'd do a little video about all the parts that I got to be able to do this repair. There's a bunch of parts involved, and I want to send a shout out. I think it's the channel's called Nick Will Do It, Nick Will Do It, or something like that, where he has a video where he does this repair, and he answered some of my comments, and based on some of that advice, I'm taking that advice and I'm gonna walk through it. So what happened was, this hose right here, and you could see one of the earlier videos on my channel where I show the old hose, burst, and this is the water bypass hose. And let's take a look at the part number. So this is part number 16261-20010, and this little hose runs right in the middle valley of the engine, and it allows coolant to go through the thermostat and back into the engine, or something like that. So I took the car out on a drive, and midway through the drive the car was all the way in the red, and I had to turn it off and turn it back on and do that a couple times to be able to get it home, hopefully there was no damage to the engine. But I was not really left with a choice. I could have had it towed actually, but I decided not to. So but it was still running the last time I checked. Hopefully it's still running when I do it again. So you'd think that this would be the only part that really failed, but to get to this part, you have to take off the whole intake manifold, and you can see some of the earlier videos I did of what that looks like. And if we see actually the full service manual here, let's see, we have a bunch of different parts here. What do we have going on? Where is our breakaway diagram? Blah blah. Here's one. So here's a good diagram that shows all the parts that come off. So you have to take this thing off, I have to take this gasket off, I have to take this off, and then I have to take off this next part. So I really went off this diagram that tells you exactly all the parts that you need to get replaced. You could see everything that has a little diamond next to it is a part that it says is a non-reusable part, so you need to get the replacement parts for that. So part of this repair, although there is nothing wrong with it, it is recommended that when you take off this other component, I'm not sure what it's called, let's see, where's that other diagram? So here's the other diagram, which has this part. And what is this called? This is the what is this? That's the water outlet. What the hell is this thing called? Intake manifold assembly. So this whole assembly has the fuel rails and the fuel injectors on it. So these two diagrams kind of give you the whole idea of what you need to do to get to this part. So here's this stupid fucking hose, which should have been made a rubber hose. That's, I guess, one of the main parts where Toyota messed up on this engine. They should have just made this a metal hose so that you never have this problem, but they didn't. But you know, I guess no one's perfect. So you have to take off all of this stuff. You have to take off obviously the air box, and then you have to take off this air intake chamber assembly, and then once you do that, you have to then replace this gasket. And then once you're taking off this other part here, it's recommended to take off the fuel rail, and then to replace the O-ring, the grommet, the insulator, and the O-ring. So while each part is only a couple bucks each, you need 12 O-rings, 6 grommets, and 6 insulators. So that all adds up, and when you're getting it from the dealership for just all those parts, it turns into like $90 in parts. And then I had to be able to disconnect this, I had to disconnect this hose, so I had to get another retainer. I had to get another gasket. And then over here I had to get these gaskets because I had to remove this thing, so I needed those 2 new gaskets. And then we're down here into the knock sensors. In that channel, Nickel Do It said that it's a good idea to replace the knock sensors. There's nothing really wrong with the knock sensors, but considering that I'm down there, considering that since that hose burst, this stupid hose right there, and coolant filled up in the valley, there's a chance that they may be compromised. So we're replacing the knock sensors. Then we have the fuel rail and the fuel injectors. So they kind of split this off to make it easier here, but these 2 diagrams are really the ones that you need to see, and they have the torque specs for all of this. They tell you, and it looks like none of these bolts need what is it called, thread locker, because if it did, it would have a little star. And while one of the bolts that goes into the water outlet out here did have like a little bit of, I don't know if it was rust, but it looked like it was something on the tip of the bolt, I'm not seeing that I need to put thread locker there. So this is the diagram, and let's go through these parts. So that was the first part. What was that first part that we just saw? Okay, so the hose, this is the culprit, this little fucker right here. So hopefully throughout the rest of the life of this car, I never have to replace that shit again. I didn't get a cheap hose, I got the OEM hose. So if the original hose was able to last 20 fucking years, hopefully this new hose can at least last another 5 or 10. Alright? Then we have the 2 big gaskets. So this is part number 1718-20020, and I'm doing this with one hand. Here we go. There's the gasket, so that's what sits on the cylinder head and between that intake manifold, and it's nice and crispy. Now, one of the things that channel does say is to put some RTV around the seal. I'm going to see if anywhere it recommends doing that. I know why he did it, so that it ensures that there's a seal. So I'm going to see. I may put some RTV on it, but other than that, it's a brand new OEM gasket. Here is the other gasket. I'm not going to take it out because I really don't want to nick it or anything. So we're going to leave these in the cardboard. So this is 17177-20020, and that's the other gasket for the intake manifold. So we have the hose, we have the 2 big gaskets, then we have right here, we have the retainers, and even though I ordered 1, they gave me 2, which is cool. So that's cool. Doesn't say, look, quantity 1, and there's 2 in there, so that's nice. So I have 2 of those little retainers. Then we have the wiring harness for the knock sensors. So this is another, it's like 40 bucks, and it's probably good to get replaced because the other one was, even if I didn't do the knock sensors, it's probably good that I'm doing this, because the other one, the little connectors were all brittle and screwed up. And I wish more of the wiring harness was like this, where it has a connector to the end, so you can, instead of having to replace the whole wiring harness, you could replace the wiring harness in parts. But obviously that would cost more, but I mean, at least they did that, so you can actually replace that without having to solder wires or do anything like that. You can just unplug it, and the part number for that, it's a little tricky to see, but it's 82219. What is it? What's that? 07010. Awesome. And we have this little stupid clip. Now you could use a zip tie for this, but I went ahead. It was like $3. I thought I would get the clip. 82711-06120, and that's a little clip that holds the wiring harness to the hose. It looks like the wiring harness goes to this little part right there, and then the hose goes in that part right there, and then that clips and holds those together so it's not rattling around, which is nice. Then we have these knock sensors. So these are the only ones that I didn't get directly from the dealership. So these are the NTK, which is supposed to be some kind of Japanese brand. I don't know if it's the OEM brand, but it's supposed to be near OEM, made in Mexico. I mean, I hope I made the right decision with these. So these are, and we can take these out. So here are the two knock sensors. They're identical, and they go right here in the middle of the engine right there. NTK, which should be a pretty good brand. You know, they're not the CarQuest or any of the cheap brands. So why did I get these from there? Well, from the dealership, these knock sensors run for $193 a piece. That's exactly how much they run before tax, so it'd be over 200 bucks. These run for $186 from Advance Auto Parts. But if you look around and you find a 25% coupon, you get $46 off, and then they ship it to your house. And if you actually split it in 2 orders, so here's a little trick. If you split it in 2 orders, because the coupon will do 25% up to 50 bucks. So if you order one in one order, you get $46 off. And then you do one in the other order, you get another $46 off. So I essentially got about $100 off these 2 sensors. So again, there's nothing wrong with the knock sensors. There's no code or anything. I'm definitely going to keep the old knock sensors in case these go out and then I have to put the other ones in. But we're going to start fresh, and you know, we're going to see how long these suckers can last. And we see here, I did a video earlier about the packaging, and like my one fan on YouTube, he's like, I should have ordered from Rock Auto, and I appreciate the comment. Again, the reason why I ordered these from Advance Auto Parts is because of the price I was able to get. I'll check on Rock Auto to see what I would have gotten these on Rock Auto. Maybe they do have a better price from it, but I was satisfied with the price. It kind of sucked that I had to spend 300 bucks on these 2 sensors, which had nothing wrong, but it is my intent to be able to keep this car running as long as possible, because I love the little fucker. You know, it's like that old dog that you love. It shits on your floor, it vomits everywhere, it doesn't move all that much, but it's a good old girl. So those are the knock sensors. Then we have the gasket. So this is the set of parts I just got today. So I was, you know, really didn't want to do it, but I understand the reason to, and that is to get all the little gaskets for the fuel injectors. So here we have, this is 23232-41081, and these are the little bolt gaskets that go into the fuel rail. So I don't know if it shows that here, or maybe here. It doesn't show it here either, but somewhere, maybe on one of these diagrams, it's a little gasket that is in between the bolt here. I'm not really sure where I saw that those gaskets were non-reusable parts, but here's another diagram where you could see better this stupid hose. And it looks like they may have changed the design, because the Nickel Do It channel, it showed that he got an AC Delco hose that had this kind of heat shield on it. And it looks like the original model came with this kind of wrapped heat shield. So they may have realized how they fucked up on this and put a shitty heat shield, and then it looks like they put a better one. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully it lasts at least half as long as the old one did, and it should be fine. And we could see here this little clip. Now I'm not seeing that it has that little bridge on it, so I don't know if I got the right clip. I don't know if this clip matches that clip. So I mean, if it doesn't fit, if it's wonky or whatever, maybe I'll just get a zip tie or cut this off, or I don't know, man. It was really hard to decipher which one of these clips, because there's so many of these freaking clips in the car. And then finally we have this gasket, which is this gasket right here, and here's this gasket, 17176-62030. So those are the 3 big gaskets right there, the big boy gasket. So hopefully once I do this, I don't have to open that part of the engine ever again, you know, until this car meets its, you know, either they my goal would be to be able to drive this car until gasoline has been banned, and you know, that be what kills that car off. That's kind of my intent, because I also have the timing belt kit for this car, which I intend to do as well. So if gas is going to be till 2030 or 2040, even if I get a better car, I love that little car to just drive around and fuck around with, and I want to be able to drive it. I want to be able to send it outright, and by sending it outright, I want to be able to drive it across the country. Maybe if this YouTube channel gets some fans, I can go out there and meet some of you fuckers out there, and you know, we can have a drink or something. So some of you crazy fucks. So here's this this little gasket. If I ever find the diagram for that, I'll add that to it. Then we have some O-rings right here. So here's the 12 O-rings. This was probably like $20-$30 in fucking O-rings. So we have, what is this? So this is 90301-07024, and this thing is taped together. So 90301-07204, and it looks like there's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Thank God, because they did get the count wrong, at least in my favor, for that retainer. It looks like I got 12. I wish they would have just thrown some extra ones in there, but hey. Then we have the Grommet 90480-13005, and that's the 6 grommets right there. That looks right. Then we have 90430-12026, and that's these 2 little gaskets. There's 2 of them, but they're, you know, they're a pair right now. But 2 little gaskets that go, I guess, on the other side of the fuel rail, and that's cool. So I mean, I guess I'll need that, maybe not, I don't know. And then we have our final piece. We have 23291-20010. We have a set of 6 insulators. So these are the biggest pieces that I have, and there's 6 of those. So those are all the pieces. This is a big job. Hopefully I don't screw it up, and I should be doing that tomorrow. One of the big things I have to do is clean all of the intake, so I have to get a good amount of throttle body cleaner. One of the good things also about buying from Advance Auto is, because I just did a $300 order, I got $15 in their little speed bucks shit. So I need to get possibly some of that RTV, but definitely a bunch of throttle body cleaner, and I can use that $15 towards getting a couple bottles of that. So they did package, because they packaged this one, which is all nice, they packaged that in a box and it came all nice like, and then they packaged this one in just like an Amazon bag, and that shit, they chucked it around like a piece of garbage, and it got all messed up. It wasn't even in the box was flattened. I mean, it was in bad shape. So I don't know, should I send it back and have them replace it? Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't accept this bullshit. So that's about it. And then these 3 diagrams give you a good idea of what needs to go where, how much the torque spec needs to be, all these gaskets. This is really what I use to be able to discern what are all the gaskets that need to get replaced, and it's going to be kind of my guide for putting everything back together, make sure it gets in the proper torque, and hopefully I can do a nice clean button-up job on this, and that'll be nice. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a car with that old 1MZ, the Toyota V6 from the late 90s to the early 2000s, it was on the ES300, the RX300, the Sienna, the Solara, the Camry, the Avalon. It's on a bunch of different Toyota models. This is a repair that you're gonna, if it hasn't been done, you're gonna have to do. If you're into doing preventative maintenance and you want that car to last a while, it's a good one to do, because when it goes, fortunately it happened to me when I wasn't really driving anywhere. I was just, you know, going for a little joyride. But if it were to happen when you're going to work or you're going somewhere, it's kind of it will leave you on the side of the road. And until you do this huge repair, your car will be undrivable because it won't be able to hold any coolant. So if you haven't done it and obviously the car's really old and you're not sure if it's been done, it's a good one to do. I mean, so I would say for all these parts, it was like $530 for all these parts. The most expensive being the knock sensors, the hose, and the initial, like the hose and the gaskets and the wiring harness, all that was like $130. And then all of the fuel injector stuff is like $90, so it's like $130 plus the $90, that's $230 plus another $300, that's like $530 in parts. Again, getting that super discount on the Advanced Auto Parts. So I hope this video helps anybody out that wants to see it. I'll go nice and slow over these diagrams, and just to let you know, someone on Club Lexus posted the full service manual, and it's for the 2001 Lexus ES300. So that's where I got this from. Someone was kind enough to upload that, and it's been super helpful in doing these repairs. So take a look for that. If I find it and get around to it, I'll put the link to where I found it. But it's been super helpful in doing these repairs, and hopefully this video will help you out. If you like videos like this, subscribe, like the video, and thank you for watching.